Just ahead, Japanese anime is popular the world over. A special screening gives you a sneak peek at the latest blockbuster in anime. We'll talk about that next. On October 1st, the MIT-Harvard Cool Japan Research Project hosts the Boston area premiere of an award-winning animated feature film from Japan. It's called Tekkon Kinkreet. Tekkon Kinkreet won the 2008 Japan Academy Prize for Best Animated Feature Film and has breathtaking visuals and fast-paced storytelling. Now, here to tell us why the film and anime as a whole are part of a cutting-edge cultural revolution is Associate Professor of Japanese Cultural Studies at MIT, Ian Condry. Condry has written a book, Hip Hop Japan, Rap and the Paths of Cultural Globalization. Also joining us is Susan Napier. She's Professor of Japanese Studies at Tufts University, and she's authored a book called Anime From Akira to Howl's, The Moving Castle. Welcome to CityLine.
Thanks.
Thank you. First, define for us what is anime. When I think of anime, I think of the old cartoon series Speed Racer.
Sure. So anime is generally defined as any Japanese animation, and Speed Racer was one of the early imports to the U.S., but there are hundreds of series being produced over the years, and about 100 each year, so it's a huge phenomenon.
What defines anime? What's the definition of anime?
Just literally, these days it really is Japanese animation, but that means, I mean, it's hard to say what defines it because it's such a wide-ranging medium. It includes everything from action-adventure to romance to tragedy to science fiction to fantasy to comedy. So when you ask us to define it, it's hard because it's just so huge. There's so much out there. It'd be like defining Hollywood cinema, I guess.
One of the things that makes it stand out is that it's not just for children, and this has been one of the fascinating things about Japanese animation, and it's linked to comic books in Japan, is that they're not just for children, but there's adult-oriented themes as well. And in fact, the film we're going to screen on Wednesday has a lot of adult themes, a lot of heavy violence. It's an R-rated film, so families should be aware of that. But it also deals with very serious issues, and I think that's one of the things that explains its global popularity. We're
going to, in fact, roll a clip of Tekkon Kinkreet while we talk. And why don't you tell us a little bit about this film and why it's such a special presentation?
Sure. Well, the film is based on a Japanese comic book, a manga, by the same title, by a manga artist by the name of Taiyo Matsumoto. And it looks at this fantastical city where two boys are battling against corrupt gangsters, ineffectual police in the midst of a city undergoing rapid change. It's really a meditation on youth violence and capitalism and urban development gone wrong. And it sets up a number of interesting conflicts that get explored through the course of the film.
This film is in Japanese with English subtitles, and as we look at it, again, if you could, is there some particular style about anime that separates it from other animation that we might see in the Disney studios, perhaps?
One of the things that is interesting about Japanese animation is that it's sticking very strongly to the cell animation style. Not all of it. There's a fair amount of full 3D CG, computer graphics animation being made in Japan, but a lot of it is still that somewhat flat, layered look that's closely related to the Japanese comic books that you still see in some Disney, but it's being pushed to a much further degree in Japan.
I think it makes it more intimate because it is not the computer graphics. It seems more real, sort of warmer somehow.
And we talked at the open about the Cool Japan project. There's kind of a, I would think perhaps an underground cultural interest in anime. Why?
Actually, I wrote another book more recently on Japanese fan culture, or fan culture of Japanese animation around the world. And I've been studying this now for 18 years, and it's amazing to me how really widespread it's become. I was just at a conference in Finland where there were all these young people who they put on anime conventions, they dress in anime costumes, they produce magazines. And of course, in America, it's remarkably widespread. It's still, as you say, underground, but it seems like everyone I know has a friend or a brother or a cousin who's into anime, and I think it's because it just appeals to so many different people who are maybe a little tired of Hollywood and a little tired of kind of the way American popular culture can be kind of formulaic. I think Japanese animation it can be darker, as Ian said. It can have more sophisticated, more adult themes, and it seems to be dealing with some very major issues. Certainly in Tekkon Kinkreet's case, as Ian said, it's dealing with alienation, urbanization, the gap between generations. At the same time, it's also very entertaining too.
Well,
it's beautifully
of course,
done.
with any underground cultural or phenomenon, once it becomes mainstream, then it's not cool anymore.
Exactly.
But that being said, talk about the Cool Japan project, and Ian, in your view, how anime has spread around the world in the context of your book, Hip Hop Japan, Rap and the Paths of Cultural Globalization.
My interest in media is that it seems to me we live in a time where the world's never been as connected as it is today, with satellite connection, internet as well, and yet the kinds of information that seems to be getting out to the world often seems ill-suited to tackling the problems we have. And so I'm interested in the kinds of underground popular culture that spread out to the globe. Hip-hop was an example of that. It started underground, became more mainstream, and spread around the globe, and I'm interested in the kind of impact it has. Anime is another example of that, where it's gone from being something not widely respected in Japan to becoming a global phenomenon, even if a lot of it is on the underground level. And I think part of what makes anime special is this connection to characters. It's a really character-based media where these characters, like the characters we'll see in Tekkon Kinkreet, can move across media from manga to anime.
What is manga?
Manga is like comic books, I'm sorry, and anime is the films and TV shows. But it's really a form of popular culture that was mixed media to begin with, going from comic books to film to TV to toys to light novels as well, that there's a whole way in which anime speaks to the crossing of media forms that's increasingly important today.
So just as we've exported hip-hop to the world, Japan has exported anime to the world.
Yeah, it's basically an alternative to American popular culture. I think that's another reason why people like it, because you know, America has been so dominant for so long, and all of a sudden this grassroots phenomenon occurs of people seeing anime, telling their friends about it, getting on the internet to talk about it, and it becomes wildly popular because it is different and it is kind of exciting, and maybe, as you said, it's cool, it's underground, so it's something that's a little bit more interesting than the usual mainstream stuff that's force-fed by giant corporations.
And the MIT Cool Japan project is trying to figure out, you know, what are these cultural connections? What kind of dangerous distortions emerge, and what kind of political and critical potential is possible through popular culture?
I know you have a series of events coming up other than the October one as part of the Cool Japan. What else do you have going on?
We've got a film screening with a director coming. He made a documentary film about an election campaign in Japan. That'll be on October 21st. We have someone coming from Japan to speak about mobile phones and digital media and how that's changing youth politics. And we're having an anthropologist who studies Japanese roboticists and is talking about gender and sexuality in relation to robotics.
I'm starting to see a little bit of anime seep into Madison Avenue commercials, so then it'll really be mainstream after that, right?
It's
Oh
true.
yeah, well, you look at The Matrix, I mean, that was very influenced by anime, and that's early on even, and nowadays you see people, rock groups use anime. I mean, it's become a sort of interesting entertainment / visual touchstone for people.
Well, Susan and Ian, thanks for joining us to explain a little bit about something new.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right, now don't forget to go see the screening of Tekkon Kinkreet. The event is free and open to the public. It takes place from 6 to 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday, October 1st at the Psy Auditorium at Harvard University, which is located at 1730 Cambridge Street in Cambridge. See this website, MITCoolJapan.com, for more details. Up next is the grand opening of a new urban design landmark right here in Boston.